This is the Bethel Missionary Baptist Church Ministries of Pasadena, California, with Pastor John T. McCall. We invite you to join us live every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. at 1972 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Pasadena, the City of Roses. For more information, visit bethelpasadena.org. Now, here's the word from Bethel Missionary Baptist Church of Pasadena, California.
Welcome in, the Bethel family and all of our special guests. I'm Pastor John T. McCall, and I pray that you and your family are having a blessed week in the Lord. Let's just dive in right tonight to our message. I want to segue in tonight to our teaching and asking all of you to continue to lift up the family of Tyree Nichols. Every time I think about the fact of how this brother was brutally murdered, just sends chills, and the thought of someone dying in that manner and by the hands of the police. So continue to pray for that family, lift up this nation in terms of police reform. And at some point soon, we'll have a more in-depth discussion regarding this matter. Life is precious, and didn't seem to be anything that brother could have done to have avoided that fatal outcome. Even when they pulled him out of his vehicle, he was still polite and never asked for his driver's license, never asked for his insurance. It's almost as if they intentionally did that. And what's even more amazing to watch the brutality of the beating this young brother took, and nobody made anybody stop. Didn't tell that coworker, stop, don't hit him again. That's enough. It's amazing in life when you see that kind of a thing. And we don't talk about it enough, the depravity of mankind and the kind of heart or the heartlessness that they showed toward that young fellow. And so we need to pray and take action as well to advocate for reform in the police department and to ensure that all those involved in this particular incident, yes, they may be forgiven, but the punishment needed for the crime. So pray for that family, this nation, and all too often we hear it and we see it. And for us as African Americans, it happens, and it's happening all too often, and it's happened too many times. So tonight, I want to segue out of how we do that, but from his service was held today, and mom having to put her son to rest, just should not have happened. Just should not have happened. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you said or you heard someone say, when I get my money right, when I get my money right, this is going to happen, or when I get my money right, I'm going to do this? Well, at the Bethel Church, this year we designated as the year of focus. COVID is still present. They're thinking about lifting all of the mandates regarding COVID-19, and many people lost their focus during COVID, and I believe in the year 2023 uh, as we now enter into the second month of this year, to look at our focus. We began the first month of the year looking at our finances and focusing in on our income, our revenue. And listen, if you fail to plan, then you will not succeed. You have to have a plan of being able to increase your revenue, to increase your earning potential, a strategy put in place to ensure that you are successful financially. This world operates on finances. Money, 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 the commodity moves this economy. And too many times, many of us are left without enough money to be able to um, pay our bills or to have some upward mobility in life. And so I pray that these messages, these teachings, are going to look at not just our money, um, but our faith, our family. Um, some of us need to focus on having some fun. We're so stressed out, never able to laugh and enjoy all of what God has given to us, your children, your family, yourself, life. We're so stressed and we're not able to get any relief because we don't have focus. And so I'm encouraging all of you as we go through these series of teachings and lessons this year, sermons on Sunday and Bible study, to really begin to hone in your focus. Get some paper and pencil and sit down and map it out. And yes, God has the last say, but you need to have some idea of where you're going. And 6 months, a year from now, 4 years from now, where you want to be. And whether you go back to school and take that class or not, time is still going to go by. A year from now, what will you have accomplished? 6 months from now, 2 years from now, have you set aside some goals and remain focused and clear about what you want? And so Sunday, Sunday, we talked about don't be a fool. And this farmer in our text made some horrible mistakes about his money, about his growth, about his produce, about the blessings of God. Made some serious errors, but when you look at the text, I'm going to read it. That some glaring points come out to us for us to be able to think about um, this parable that Jesus tells, this earthly story with a heavenly meaning. Says that the ground um, of a certain rich man. We don't know his name, but we do know that the ground, and the ground doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the ground of a certain rich man, produced a good crop. And he thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, uh, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. Um, this rich man, a number of miscalculations in his life. That the dirt that God formed him out of, that produced his bumper crop, didn't belong to him. He didn't make it grow. God did. He did his job of cultivating the soil, planting the seed, but it was still up to God to rain on it, to have the sunshine come, to have the seed be able to germinate in the ground, and not have bugs or other disease come and wipe out his crop. Um, and he is already rich. He's already rich, which says to me that God doesn't have any problems with any individual being rich. And in the parable, Jesus doesn't talk about whether the rich man is saved or not. We can speculate from the parable by his actions. Maybe he was not saved, but the text doesn't tell us that. And this brother has this bumper crop, and he asked himself the question, "What shall I do?" Um, isn't it amazing when God blesses you with abundance, and he's having to ask himself, "What shall I do? I got a bumper crop now." And then he says, now he already has barns, he already has storage facilities. He says, "I'll tear them down and build bigger ones." You know, nowhere initially, uh, nowhere in this parable to begin with did this brother ever thank God for giving him the bountiful blessing. Nowhere does he pause to tell God, "I appreciate it. I thank you. I know it came from you. You blessed me with it." He proceeds on with what he wants. And he says, "This is what I'll do." He's going he's going to tear down apparently good storage space because he's already storing what he has. And he says, "I'm going to build some bigger ones. And then I'm going to store all of my grain and my goods. I'm going to put it away and put it in this new, bigger built barn. Uh, and then I'll say to myself, I'll have plenty of laid up for many years to come." Nowhere in the parable does it mention that him thinking about the less fortunate, about who perhaps the servants who helped them plant the crops. No mention of wanting to give to the poor or to share with his neighbor. Um, and listen, it's not about us having an abundance. It's about the heart of when you have an abundance, what do you do with it? Do you store it all up for yourself? Do you think about blessing others? Do you make room for God in any of your decisions, your plans, or your giving? He's already rich, and I often ask the question, how rich do you have to be more rich? I mean, if you're rich, you're rich. And we look at the world today, businesses and people in this capitalistic society wanting to make more and more and more and more. I think it was the owner of McDonald's, who's paid millions of dollars a year. The other day was criticizing a plan to raise the minimum wage to $15 or $16. He was saying that the impact that it would have on the revenue and the sales at McDonald's. And I just laughed and said, "Well, if you gave up half your salary, that would pay for theirs." And when you look at corporate America, and the greed, and the research shows, even during COVID, how much the income has increased for executives and CEOs compared to their workers. And now that we look at tech companies laying off thousands of people to continue to ensure that the profit. California, prime example of the study that came out last week, looking at the price of gas in California and how much profit uh, the gas companies made over their cost. What does it profit a man if he gained the whole world and then loses soul? What would a man give in exchange for his soul? This rich man says, I got stuff laid up for many years. It said, "Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. Just live on the good side, have fun, ignore what's happening in your community, in your neighborhood. Don't consider or think about poor people or the less fortunate, those who don't have as much. He says, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to relax. And here is something that really bugged me. Um, was he planning on never not planning again? Was he banking on just what he got the bumper crop that year, and that was going to be enough, and he wouldn't need to plant nothing for a long time? Isn't that amazing? The thinking of this rich man. And again, it wasn't the fact that he's rich. Amen. You can be a Christian and be rich. You can be a non-Christian and still be rich. So it's not a matter of being saved or unsaved for riches to come. That you can be in Christ and have a whole bunch of money. But we discover with this brother, he had no room for God. God was not in the picture in his plans. God was not in his life as it relates to sharing and giving to others. That his was about me, myself, and I, and the danger of having um, abundance is that sometimes you may have a tendency to think only about yourself and your family, but nobody else's family, as if God can never give you any more. That what He gave you is all He's going to give you, and there's nothing else coming your way. As a believer, when we pray, give us this day our daily bread for what we need this day. Um, and in this parable, on that night when he went to bed, God said to him, "You fool! This very night, your life or your soul will be demanded from you. That's going to be a separation. We're going to take that part of you, the soul, the seat of your emotions, your mind, your will, the intellect, the life I put into you. We're going to extract it from you. You're going to die. Um, then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" Uh, Now, it wasn't that there was anything wrong with preparing for himself. Yes, you ought to prepare for your future. Yes, you ought to work. You ought to put some money up. You ought to invest some money. You ought to get a life insurance policy. You ought to pay into Social Security, because if you live to get old enough, you're going to retire. And yes, you ought to plan for your future. And you plan with Christ in mind, that He's going to bless you with long life, with longevity, and along the way, sharing of the abundance of what God has given you with others. Uh, you know, um, it's amazing with this brother. He was already rich, and so how much more do you need to pile on to what you already have, when you could have taken that and given it to somebody else? Give, and it shall be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give to you. And with the same measure you give it out, that's how it's coming back to you. Can you imagine with that bumper crop? He's already rich. Could have left his barns in place, stored some in, and gave the rest away. Can you imagine the impact he would have had in his community, the lives he could have touched with what he had? But he's saving it all for himself. And I know sometimes in church, we kind of get bummed out or tune out when the preacher talks about money. But when we look at the Bible, there are more than 2,300 verses on money, wealth, and possessions. And you got to ask the question, if you have it all, then do you have it, or does those things have you? Have you decided to live your life based upon those things? Have you decided that God was the one who gave them to you and that you're going to be a blessing to others? Jesus spoke about money roughly 15% of his preaching, um, and 11 out of the 39 parables were about money. Um, he talked about it. Why? To warn us not to allow money to dictate your life, not to allow money, not to allow God to not have a place with your money, and to be able to share your money with others. And I've said to you in prior lessons, money has authority. Uh, think of the people you'd like to meet who have some money or be around to learn how they got their money. Money has authority, um, and whether we like it or not. And I said on Sunday that we need some people in church who have some money and are willing to give it, are willing to share. The same way we have ministries of ushering and singing and driving and culinary. You need some finance people in your church who are able to help and be able to meet the need whenever the need arises. Um, and in the quote unquote black church, particularly those churches that are, 125 members or less, 75 members or less, we depend heavily on God's favor of touching the hearts of those members to tithe and to give an offering. Why? Because bills have to be paid and ministry work has to be done. It costs to evangelize. It costs to be on television. It costs to be able to help people who are in need. So we need people who are willing to give. Um, this fool um, was rich, and God gave him a bumper crop. Um, and no reason why he shares it this year that God wouldn't give him a bigger, better crop next year. And even if he didn't, he's already rich. He's not missing or losing anything. He already has more than what the average other person already has. So he's thinking only of himself. Um, he's only thinking about his current pleasures, of how it's going to make him feel, what he can do, and the heck with what somebody else may not have or what they may be going through. Isn't that kind of how the world is going today? That the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. Uh, and this wealth gap they keep talking about in America, people gaining more and people becoming more and more poor every day. Um, he forgot about the brevity of life, thinking that he's going to live forever. We're taught to redeem the time, and tomorrow's not promised. What we have is right now, in the moment. And he forgot about the brevity of life. He wasn't going to stay here forever. Bless the Lord tonight. And he forgot about his own mortality, that he was going to get out of here. No reason why, because he was rich that he couldn't die. Rich and poor die alike. Of that one common denominator about life uh, is that it's appointed unto man once to die. Doesn't matter if you're rich, somewhat rich, if you're poor, if you're a little bit poor, it's appointed unto man once to die. And then, more importantly, he says he's going to sit back, take his ease, eat, drink, and be merry. And he forgot he couldn't take none of it with him. Uh, and God asked him that tonight, when your soul is required of you, all of these things that you put up for yourself, who are they going to be now? It was amazing. Some people work their life, fingers to the bone, and striving to do what's right in the next generation. And when they're going out to sing in 6 months, that's which took them 60 years to grow and develop, is gone overnight, seems like. Listen, we have to plan. We have to be focused. We have to be deliberate about living life in a godly manner, honoring God with our substance, with how He's blessed us, and not about me, myself, and I. There are too many people in the world today who operate from that premise, and they're selfish. They're liberal toward the world stuff, but they're stingy toward God. Where's your focus tonight as it comes to your money? If we looked at your checkbook tonight, uh, if we looked at your bank account tonight, could we tell where your money goes? Yeah. Can we look at it tonight and see what your pleasures are, what you're spending your money toward? Uh, be rich toward God, because all you have has come from Him. All you'll ever have will have to come from Him. So bless the Lord. Don't live life to yourself and not involve God in your business. The focus of success is to have God directing your path. He's a lamp to my feet, and He's a light to my path. And I've hidden His words in my heart that I might not sin against God. Uh, be focused financially. We'll come back to this sometime in the year to see how you're doing. But again, January, I'll focus on finance. On finance. Get your finances in order. Get your finances straight. Do a budget. Look at your bills. What are you going to pay off this year? How are you going to come out of debt? What class do you need to take to get that promotion on your job? What interview skills do you need to develop to hone in on? So when you're called in for the interview, you know how to ace it. What tests did you got to take that you got to get some preparatory work done so you pass the test and qualify for that upcoming promotion? Got to get focused. And then when God blesses you, don't forget where the blessing has come from. It came from the Lord. Hey, listen. Join us this coming Sunday at 11 a.m. at the Bethel Church, 1972 Norfolk Oaks, as we kick off Black History Month celebration and celebrating the accomplishments of African Americans. Listen, there would be no U.S. history without African American history and the roles that we played, our ancestors have played in shaping the history and the course of this nation. So come join us at 11 a.m. this coming Sunday morning. Love to see your face in the place and as we participate in the Lord's Supper. Until next time, I'm Pastor John T. McCall signing off tonight. Listen, continue to pray for the Tyree Nichols family. Pray for your family, for your children, for the injustices across this nation. See you on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Be blessed.